I'd like to welcome everybody to the regular city council meeting, Monday, November 20th, 2023. If everyone would please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by a moment of silence.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Well, folks, we've always got some great things going on in TK, and if you can kind of fathom, we've got a lot of young people over here, and the reason they're here is because they are the state champions for our local swim team, and I would like to present. So, thank you. So what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to present to the girls first, and then we'll get you guys after, because that's the proper thing to do, right, gentlemen? Okay. So if you'd like to come down and we'll do some presenting.
Okay. I am Cindy Van Buskirk, and it is my honor tonight to present the state champion, 5A state champions for the state of South Carolina, Fort Mill High School swim team for both the girls and the boys. They had phenomenal seasons. They were undefeated. The girls team were region champions for the 15th year in a row. The boys were region champions for the 14th year in a row. This is my 16th year as coach, and I am very proud to present to you the 5A state champion girls swim team.
I'll read that after you said that.
Very quickly, my assistant coaches, I had quite the Mensa meeting every week when I prepared my meets. Jenna Pahowski, step forward, Jenna. Thank you. Michelle Case, and on this end, Doug Fleck. And as you can tell, it was a rather large team. I'm very blessed with a lot of talent in this area. And I have two state champion relays that I would like to recognize. The 200 medley relay, Ava Corby, step forward, gang. Lila Hadley, Josie Chandler, and Olivia Corby. I also have a 400 freestyle relay state champion, Mia Porgazelski, Lila Hadley, Ava Corby, and Olivia Corby. And one last thing, just to brag just a little bit. These young ladies won the state championship last year for the first time ever, and this year they are back-to-back state champions. Congratulations, girls.
We can go ahead and we're going to get some pictures, right?
Okay.
Okay, so mom and dads, this is your time to come get pictures. Come on.
Can you get us in? Like I said, big team. There it is. Thank you.
What fell off?
It's my stuff.
Hold that pose.
I also had a very strong boys team this year. 16 strong in the state championship. They are first time ever 5A state champion team. Congratulations, gentlemen. I have a state champion relay that I would like to recognize at this time, the 400 freestyle relay, consisting of Jack Dollyhigh, Owen Phi, Dominic Impens, and Turner Wyand. They came in second last year by 12 points. They were not very pleased with that. And they worked very hard this entire season to finally achieve their goal. And I am very pleased with the outcome. Needless to say, I'm looking forward to many more years with this phenomenal team. But I do want to recognize that I have 10 seniors standing here tonight. And I would like to wish them the very best. And we will do our best to uphold in the future. Thank you very much, City Council.
Now I get to present you with
Okay, great. Okay.
All right. So as a token of TEK's appreciation for you and your team, we'd like to make a proclamation recognizing the Fort Mill High School girls and boys swim team as the 5A state champions. Whereas the Fort Mill High School girls swim team and the Fort Mill High School boys swim team are the 2023 Class 5A South Carolina state champions. Whereas the young men and women that make up these teams have achieved and continue to achieve outstanding accomplishments for their fellow Yellow Jackets and Fort Mill High School. The City of TEK and City Council would like to commend each swimmer for their commitment and their teamwork, as well as the coaching staff for their leadership. Now therefore be it proclaimed, we, the City Council of the City of TEK, do hereby congratulate and recognize the coaching staff and the Fort Mill High School girls and boys swim teams for their achievement in becoming the 2023 5A South Carolina state champions.
Thank you
Thank you very much, Coach. Thank you very much.
very, very much. Appreciate it.
Thanks, guys. Good job.
Picture, picture, picture.
Boys don't go to the front, tend to hand squat.
Chris, you could squat in the front.
That'd be you.
And nobody on council photobomb. What's up with this? Who are these people? Not a single photobomb.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. That's always good, folks, when you can celebrate your young folks like that. That's a good future right there. Okay. So our next item on the agenda is proclamation for Arbor Day 2023. Tim Gillette is our city operations manager, and he's our tree guy too. And so that's why he's here with us. The City of TEK is celebrating 33 years as a Tree City USA, which recognizes the value of trees to the community and has adopted the act of celebrating the first Friday in December as Arbor Day. Whereas trees contribute to the aesthetics of our community, and when properly cared for, increase property values and beautify our neighborhoods, and enhance the livability of our city throughout through the filtering of stormwater and air pollution. And whereas it is the purpose of this proclamation on this day throughout the state of South Carolina to encourage planting trees. Now therefore, we, the mayor and council of the city of TK, do hereby proclaim Friday, December 1st, 2023, as Arbor Day in the city of TK of South Carolina. We encourage all residents of the city to observe Arbor Day by attending the Arbor Day ceremony in the Memorial Gardens at 2 p.m. The city will be planting a fringe tree to recognize Patty Martin and her contribution to the city's garden and to the city. So, Tim, I'm going to present this to you, and we can present that to Patty.
Absolutely. Thank you,
All right.
Mayor.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate it. And folks, just so you know, Tim does a great job for us day in and day out here in TK, and couldn't really do it without you, big man. Appreciate all the hard work. Thanks. Okay. Brings us to George Jacobs III. Is Susan here? No. Okay. All right. Well, we will present that to him personally. No problem. All right, we get that. Okay, and that'll bring us to our new business, year-end reports from Public Works, Stormwater, and Parks and Rec, and Utilities.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Tim Gillette, Operations Director. I'm here to represent Public Works and Stormwater with our annual report. Yard waste and recycling first, just a few numbers to go over. I did have the opportunity to modify our chipping yard permit so we could have more capacity. So we doubled our capacity at our chipping yard this year. We processed 887 tons of yard debris, which generated 241 tons of mulch. We collected 3,715 piles of debris from our yards and our curbside collection. Bags, we picked up 4,796. My guys work real hard. That's Butch. That's what we do. He does every day, every week. If you see him out there, say thanks. He does a great job. Brown goods, if you know what brown goods are, we picked up 11. That's couches and stuff out of your living room. White goods, you know what they are, appliances and stuff, we picked up 45. We removed 169 deer from our roadways. That's all I got. So we're on street repair. We did do a couple patches. We fixed 37 potholes. We have a couple more to go. It's pothole season again. We did 3 large patches on those particular streets. We started a stop line repainting campaign, and we managed to finish 28 of them. We pick up litter every week on the main thoroughfares. We also started a sign replacement and repair campaign, and we're up to 97 replaced so far. We're getting rid of the old faded brown ones and going with a new green one with the logo on it. It looks really sharp. Also, part of our job as Public Works is we go to the new developments when they're building roads, and we make sure that the subsurface and the asphalt and the curb is where it needs to be, and the soil is tight before they put these down. So we performed 8 of those inspections for our new streets to come into our inventory. Fleet maintenance, we have 2 guys that do a great job on maintaining all of our equipment. We had 200 service requests for vehicles and equipment requests of 90. And they got these done in a timely manner. Special projects we did, we removed the fence at the maintenance headquarters by the parking area at the police department. We put together a curbside collection PSA. If you haven't seen it yet, it's online. Gretchen does a great job. We installed new power supply for our City Hall sign because it got damaged, and we needed a better power supply for our new LED sign that came in. Everybody asks about sidewalks. We are working on sidewalks. There's just a lot to do, and we budget as we can. We replaced 14 panels, and we made 200 repairs, totaling 3,376 square feet of repaired sidewalk. We also do row vegetation management, which is right-of-way. Trees removals, we did 57. Street tree pruning, 351. Leaf pickup, 12,000 cubic yards of leaves we picked up last year. That's 750 truckloads. Stormwater, we're constantly working on that. We have infrastructure projects that we do. We've completed 2, number 3 on the Pines and 1 on Kiki Court. There's also a bunch of other stormwater projects we have in the queue that we're currently working on as weather and time permits with our personnel. So we have storm drain work inlets that we've completed on Molokai, Comingway, Beaver Run, and Silver Fox. Also, we do maintenance on these areas, and we completed maintenance on the stormwater basin on Hubert Graham Way. It had become clogged with a plastic bag of all things, and it started to fill up with water, so we had to drain it and then do some maintenance on it. This is Robbie, our building maintenance technician. He works diligently on our janitorial service for 4 buildings, including this one. He also is an electrician, so he's retrofitted regular fluorescent fixtures with LED kits that have become a real good energy saving for us as we go forward. We've also replaced emergency lights. We do safety checks. He takes care of the safety checks on all these buildings, emergency lights, make sure all our extinguishers are checked on a monthly basis, and he also performs our safety check on our elevator every month. And there was a couple exit signs he replaced. He also took on a project of sealing some gaps in the front porch on this building, and we were able to successfully seal that so far. No leaks since the summer, so that's great. And thank you. If you see these guys out working, this is the Public Works staff. Tell them thanks. They do a great job every day. Thank you. That's all I have.
Yeah, earlier in the month, you could catch these guys stringing up all the Christmas lights down TK Drive. So they're also the guys to thank for the Christmas lights when you drive by, and the Christmas tree and all the good stuff that we see. So hats off to them. Do a great job, guys. Bring us to our Park and Recs report, Mr. Dustin, if you would, please, sir.
All right, good evening, Council. Hope everyone is doing well. Excited to be here again and review our past fiscal year. Tim is a tough act to follow, but I'm going to do my best to keep this as efficient and effective as possible. So let's dive in. Staff. It's another great year for Parks and Recreation Department. I'd like to start with the city's most important asset, our staff. We welcomed several new faces this past year with 5 new employees. Starting off, the unsung heroes of the department are our maintenance team members. This past year, we had the opportunity to add J.R. Coffin, Charles James, Mark Burton, and Matthew Saunders to our team. Each bring their own set of strengths to the team, and I look forward to seeing them grow within our organization. In addition to our maintenance staff, we had 1 new office staff hire. I'm sure she does not need an introduction, but the department was happy to welcome Miss Caroline Hasty as our events manager. She brings an unmatched passion to the position and has numerous ideas to enhance and grow city events. Unfortunately, no promises that she won't begin campaigning council to increase her budget. Finally, I want to highlight a few staff accomplishments from this past year in continuing education. Kira Barnes, one of our recreation programmers, earned her Certified Youth Sports Administrator. Walker Johnson, our recreation superintendent, earned his Certified Park and Recreation Professional. That's the second highest certification that you can earn as a Parks and Recreation professional. And Mark Burton, he's one of our newest members that I mentioned before. He earned his South Carolina Certified Landscape Professional. So he has been a massive asset to our landscaping team. You'll probably see him fixing leaks, irrigation leaks from time to time. Moving on into our recreation, this graph gives you a comparison between our yearly spring and fall registrations and our wait lists. In spring 2022, we had 2,082 registered participants. This spring, we upped that number to 2,427 participants. In fall of 2022, we were at 2,089 registered participants. Compared to this fall, we were at 2,190 participants. So we're continuing to see an increase in our participants in our registration from year to year. Programming staff has done a great job of minimizing the number of participants placed on our wait list, as you can see, compared to what our actual numbers are. Adult sports, they may fluctuate by the season, but they generally remain consistent. I added this graph and it looks significantly different, but that's only added 2 additional adult teams, so it's not nearly as drastic as it looks. This is probably one of my favorite things to do is include some pictures over the past year. This slide highlights a few special moments. One at the top left is our girls softball All-Star Day, which is the first one that was held here at the city. It was organized by Coach Lauren Gallagher, so I wanted to recognize her for taking that upon herself. And as you can see, there was a lot of big smiles. Right there in the middle, our Little League Majors, which is our 11s and 12s, won the district championship. And came within 1 game of winning the state championship. So they had a very successful all-star season. We even got our adult kickball champions over in the bottom right. So as you can see, we have fun for all ages, abilities in our recreation program. Catawba Park. Construction to Catawba Park was officially completed this past fiscal year. Since then, we've seen kids playing on the playground, recreation sports, community events, passive recreation, and much, much more at the facility. You may recognize a few of these individuals in these pictures, looking good. It doesn't seem too distant of the past, but Catawba Park had its ribbon cutting ceremony and park dedication this past year. A couple of milestones. Gold Hill Middle School baseball team broke in the new facility by winning the middle school baseball championship, and has the distinction of having the first home run hit over the fence on field 4 of that park. So kudos to them. This slide is a quick breakdown of our rental revenue generated from the past fiscal year. You can see this total is actually without rental revenue in the fall. As you remember, we had some delays with construction and opening the park, so this is just 2023. Does not include anything from 2022. We anticipate this number being in the 6 figures next fiscal year, with the addition of us being able to do it this fall, as well as our new agreement with Top Gun Sports. I'll be happy to show some graphs on that the next time we do this. Community events. There were a total of 9 community events this past year, including everyone's favorite 4th of July, our summer concert series, and now Catawba Fest. We've had a great turnout from our community at each of these events as we see our average attendees grow from each year. Caroline Hasty has done a great job jumping into this as our events manager, and words can't describe how excited she is to introduce you to the city's newest event this upcoming spring. So a little bit of excitement there for you guys to think about. Beach and Swim Center. Our Beach and Swim Center, we had another great year here at the Beach and Swim Center. Memberships were lower this past pool season. We're starting to see them start to equal out to our normal average. However, registration was still higher than our other previous seasons, not compared to last year. No major projects this pool season. However, I will have a ton of pictures and information next fiscal year, as we have a number of capital projects scheduled to take place at the pool this off-season. Projects in our strategic data, which is what I like to say, what has staff completed or worked on throughout the year? some of our completed projects, you may recognize the first picture. That's the phase one of Stonecrest Boulevard. Those now have amazing palmetto trees in the median there, along with some muley grass. The one next to it was our steps that we renovated at Windjammer Park, which will also get a refresher before we get into the summer season this year. A couple of different projects, including our new railing at the croquet court. We installed some batting cages at Catawba Park. There was a planter box built and installed at the Windward Circle, which our gardening club was able to add some beautiful flowers to that. And then we had our overflow parking lot constructed at Catawba Park. I'm not going to get too deep into our strategic data, just highlight a couple of them. From the beginning of our fiscal year, our department tracked different categories as part of the strategic data collection. If you ever wonder what staff accomplished when you weren't looking, this is what they were doing. For example, our staff has become expert mulch spreaders over this past year as we spread 3,000 yards of mulch throughout the city. In addition, the city continues to help facilitate rentals and activities on or near the lake. We'd like to thank our ski team, goat boater, and our log rolling camps as part of facilitating those activities. If you want to know the most difficult situation the department has faced this year, it was getting this very picture. Unfortunately, Brian Baker is not pictured, and Scott Cook, if you're listening, thank you for somewhat smiling in this picture. Compared to the other ones, this was the best one. We're a very unique department that covers three very different responsibilities with our events, landscape, and recreation. I can't say enough about our staff and the job that they do for this city. We have an amazing team, and I look forward to what we're going to accomplish this time next year. Council, thank you for taking the time to listen, and I always appreciate your continued support as we move into the next fiscal year. So thank you.
Thank you, Dustin. Now our utilities.
Mayor, members of council, pleasure to be here again tonight. Antonio Maturo, Assistant Utilities Director. Today we're going to be talking about a few highlights that we did throughout the year here in the utility department. First, we have the lift station upgrade at number 4. That's located off of Anchorage. A few miscellaneous lift station repairs and upgrades as well. Several hydrant replacements and repairs. Our addition that we did at the operations center. The purchase of the hydro excavation trailer, as well as combination vac truck. Our leaks, SSOs, some future plans, and lastly, the employee achievements. Here you can see the upgrade that we did at lift station number 4. That fiberglass unit that's featured right there in the middle. What we did there was replace a dry can system. The dry can system, what that consists of is pumps being down in the ground in a dry center about 15 feet deep. Every time you need to enter and do a repair on those pumps, you need to go down 15 feet, needing confined space. This unit here that you see featured there is an ASVP unit. It's above ground submersible valve package, meaning that everything that's in that housing right there features everything that you need, from electrical panels to check valves to bypass connections and so on. On the opposite side of that is where the trap doors are in order to get down and maintain those pumps. Here are just some miscellaneous upgrades and repairs that we've done. We've done many, but these are just a few. We replaced some check valves and a couple pump replacements, from rotating assemblies, some floats, and electrical components. Next here we have some hydrant replacements. The one to the left there is one that we did over at Misty Way. That was a more involved project as far as the hydrant is concerned. We replaced not only the hydrant but also the isolation valve in front of it, and about 20 foot a section of pipe in front of that as well. The picture in the center and on the right there, that hydrant there was on Windward. That was actually a vehicle kind of hit that one and knocked it on down. So we've had to do some replacement work on that, replacing the breakaway flange down on the bottom side, as well as the operating valve and breakaway coupler on the inside. which, as you can see, it's back in operation. We've had quite a few other repairs consisting of O-rings and gaskets and things of that nature. So definitely the guys are doing a great job getting those up and going. Here is our operations building addition that we put on at the building behind police department. It's been a great addition to house a lot of our miscellaneous parts that we use on a daily basis, as well as some of the equipment to keep it out of the elements. So we're extremely happy to have that addition. Featured here is the purchase of the hydro excavation trailer, as well as the combination jetback truck. We purchased that trailer in March, and let me tell you, the guys are loving every second of it. It's been phenomenal as far as saving their backs, as well as making us a lot more efficient to get the work done and minimizing any other damage in the ground for any other utilities. The truck there features on the right. We got that at the end of September. It has not been out yet, but we are surely looking forward to getting that piece of unit out there to help maintain some of our collection lines, as well as our lift stations and for emergency response. This slide here, leak repairs. So as you can see, that list continues to grow year to year, which you'll see in the upcoming slide. Over in TCUD 1, you see 3 main line leaks and 40 service line leaks. TCUD 2, 14 main line leaks and 51 service line leaks, for a total of 108 leaks that continue to go. If you can see here in this chart here, it shows you the last 5 consecutive years, and we continue to go in an upward trend. We're hoping at some point, with all the phenomenal work that the guys are doing, eventually this will either level off or begin to come down some. This is just year to date. Year to date means October to November. This is just for the month of October, really. You can see the leaks haven't stopped. So really a total of 15 leaks, and they continue to go. This normally is a time of year that things start to slow down a bit. Unfortunately for us, they have not yet. Sanitary sewer overflows. We're pleased to present that this is the 3rd consecutive year that we have not had an overflow, and we want to, and we definitely want to keep it that way. And we know that that vehicle that we showed you before should to keep us on track to do exactly that. So moving forward, what do we want to do to continue our high level of service that the gentlemen, our guys, are providing? We want to begin an easement clearing program in order to get to our infrastructure a lot easier, get some of the trees off and some of the other overgrowth so it doesn't get into our lines. We want to continue with the electrical panel upgrades at our lift stations. We want to continue with our manhole lining as well, just to stop the infiltration and also enhance the longevity of those manholes that are out there. We want to continue with our vehicle replacement program, meaning once they get to a certain age and a certain mileage, kick them out before they cost too much. And lastly there, we want to definitely, or not definitely, but we want to do some wastewater treatment plant upgrades. This is going to consist of quite a bit of work. Clarifiers, replacing clarifiers, flow meters, electrical panels, and a bunch of other components, just to name a few. So that definitely is going to be something very beneficial for not only our staff, but the city in general. And lastly, employee achievements. So not only are the guys doing a great job out in the field, but they're also working on their own personal development as well. So you have Anthony Ciarelli, who obtained his Class C water distribution license. Dominic Noviello, his Class D distribution license. David Ashton, his C in biological wastewater treatment. And lastly, Dennis Blaney with his C voluntary collections. So again, thank you to our entire staff. They are doing a phenomenal job out there to keep this infrastructure running the way it's been running. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Okay, before we begin public comments this evening, I would like to comment on something that has been taking TK by storm, and it is little to do about nothing. And that would be the hotel that is been strewn upon Facebook pages and next doors and any other social media platform that it could possibly get on. The hotel has not been, there's nothing been presented to council about a hotel. We don't have any kind of forms, any kind of conversations or anything about a hotel at the marina. We don't have any kind of prudent move forward with it because it was an idea that's been tossed around for the last, I don't know, 12, 15 years. In that, I really don't want a hotel down there. And I'm not speaking for council, but just me, I really could care less about having a hotel. So with that, if you're going to speak on the hotel tonight, feel free to speak on the hotel, but just know that it is something that at this point in time in the foreseeable future is not happening.
Well, I think to add to that, to make it crystal clear, there's absolutely nothing in front of Planning Commission that has anything to do with a 55-room or 100-room hotel at the marina. Pie in the sky concept from 2009 and the comprehensive plan that's in there from 15 years ago that was used as a political ploy for a political candidate to try to gain votes the night before an election. And I think he ended up fourth, so it didn't work out for him real well. But the point is, it doesn't exist, guys. So while we want to hear your input, and we want all of you to talk, just realize it was a ploy to gain votes that didn't work. That simple.
And with that, please remember to state your name and your address as before you begin your speech. So we have John Rapide.
You ready to go? You want to go? Go. Go.
No, I have questions, but I can ask later.
Thank you. Good evening. My name is John Rapetti. I live at 7075 Harbor Court in the Anchorage. We've lived there for the past 28 years. Needless to say, when we first came, we were the third house in all of Anchorage. I've seen a number of turnover in homeowners, but one thing they've all had in common is that they've taken great pride in their landscaping and invested many hours and a lot of money to keep their yards looking good. Sadly, the landscaping is getting worse and worse because more and more neighbors are just giving up because of the devastation by the deer. Who can blame them? Most days, I will chase a group of 3 to 5 deer out of my yard 4 times a day. 3 to 4 times a day, I'm chasing groups of 3 to 5. It is not unusual in the Anchorage for us to see groups of 10, 12, 14 deer at a time wandering down the streets. A neighbor with a 2 and a 5-year-old boys can't let them play in their yard because it's covered with deer feces. By failing to take decisive action on eradicating the deer infestation, I feel the city is failing its responsibility to protect the health and property of its residents. Thank you.
Thank you, John. Ray Hale.
Hi, my name is Ray Hale, 7010 Coventry Court. First, I'd like to thank all of you for being members of the council and taking the time out of your days to make sure that you make good decisions for us in the city, good, transparent decisions that we all understand. And it's also good to see the new council members here. They're going to start their duties in January. The reason I'm here is to talk about that hotel you're not going to build. Okay? Why not build it? I'm just going to cover it real briefly. I'm sure you're aware of probably most of these. In order to make a hotel work, general rule of thumb is 70 to 80% occupancy. If it was 100 hotel rooms, it's about 80 cars coming and going. How many times per day? They're going to check in, they're going to check out, they're going to go for food, they're going to go for activities. I would say conservatively 400 more trips down TKK Drive to the very end of TKK Drive because that's where the marina is. Now, is that important? Well, 2011 is when this thing was initially thrown out there. We didn't have the TK Elementary School yet. Now we do. Hundreds of kids are walking, riding their bikes, their scooters, to and from that school in the morning and in the afternoon. The afternoon when a lot of people are checking in and out, by the way, at a hotel. Is that important? They're gonna go across crosswalks, pedestrian crosswalks. Do we have any crosswalks on TK Drive between the elementary school and the marina? 2? 4? You have 8. You have 8 crosswalks that we're asking these people who don't know where they're going to be able to slow down to 30 or maybe less and not hit some child that's trying to get home. We also have a golf course, and those guys are pretty good at dodging the cars anyway, but you also have the golf course cart that goes across there. Okay, it's just something to consider. Another issue for most of us that live in that area, and of course I do, and a lot of us here do, is you could have that windjammer effect in the summertime where you've got trash that people don't pick up. You've got parking issues. And is that going to be any better with people that don't know where they're going? At least some of the people going to Windjammer are TKK residents and hopefully would pick up their trash. I don't think it's going to be any better if you allow people from whatever state they're coming from to go into the bowels of TKK in our residential area, which is totally residential down there, so I know you know. A while back, an Airbnb was disapproved by the council. Smart move. I don't know if anyone would approve it or not. What we heard, it was pretty unanimous disapproval. If you're disapproving an Airbnb, I don't see how you can ever consider approving a hotel. Just a point. Hotels themselves, and I've spent a lot of times in hotels over the years of my profession. You can be at a Four Seasons, you can be at a Motel 6. You're going to have larceny, you're going to have vandalism, you're going to have trafficking. 3 years ago, I was at a hotel where some guy overdosed and died. Those things that comes with having a hotel. You can look at Carowinds and see the statistics for crimes that occur anywhere near any kind of hotel. We don't need that in a residential district. We're not saying don't have tax revenue. You know what? That's why it might be pushed someday. But put it where it makes sense. Don't put it 5.5 miles off an interstate. Don't put it 3 miles into a residential community. Put it out by Catawba Park where they've got activities. You're never going to be running a professional softball tournament at Rundy Park. Okay, that's why we have Catawba. So consider it over there if you think you want to do it. The last thing I ask for is continued transparency in what you all do. Because of your September, there was an ordinance 585 that says the Marina Drive is no longer being utilized by the general public. So we're going to give it to the owner in exchange for some dirt. Who really believes that you don't use Marina Drive? That's in your ordinance. It was written and signed off. That's the only way to get down to the marina, unless you go backwards. But we don't want people going backwards, just a one-way loop. So, because you've got some big boats, people aren't always really good about navigating with a boat. So you come in and you follow and you go out. If you cut that off, you're asking people to come in and out of the same drive. It doesn't make sense, but it was signed off by this council, which is why I'm here, just asking you guys, why would you sign off on that if this hotel thing isn't someone's idea down the road? I hope that's not the case. I hope it's not the case. Anyway, we want you guys to do the right thing. That's why we voted you in. We expect that you will.
Thanks, Ray. Appreciate it. Okay. Charlie, you want to?
The plan for Marina Drive, is that what, yeah.
How many
so-
feet of sidewalk are we adding down there?
I couldn't tell you. It's to pick up from where it is now to go all the way down to
All
the
the way
cul-de-sac.
around. Yep.
The plan for Marina Drive, instead of it being a public road, is a private access to the marina that will have to be maintained by the marina instead of by tax dollars. That curb cut will still be there. That drive down to the marina will still be there, but it will be for access for marina folks to be able to get down in there, is what that plan is. Has nothing to do with any type of hotel or whatever else. Furthermore, meeting with the marina owner today, his plans are actually to build some type of lake club type building down there for his slip owners and things of that nature, is what he would like to plan to be able to do.
Okay.
So, and it's not all of Marina Drive. It is from the first entrance of Marina Drive down around to where the curb and gutter starts. At the first house is the only portion that was that is being dedicated or conveyed over to the marina.
Thanks, John.
So you're saying what I read on Facebook isn't entirely true? That is crazy.
If there were transparency, we wouldn't have to rely on Facebook.
Yeah.
For a chance. Get order, Mayor. Get order, Mayor. Thank you. Tell Michelle.
Okay, folks, I've already broken my cardinal rule by going over this and answering questions during public comments, which we don't do, period. So I'm not going to have people talking out of turn. We're going to have order in this meeting tonight. So if I hear someone talk out of turn again, we'll have you removed. This is a meeting for us, not a meeting to discuss you amongst yourselves. We as council discuss in our council meetings. That's why we're here. So I would like to ask for everyone to please let us conduct this meeting in an orderly fashion. And please do not talk out of turn if you are in the gallery. Thank you. So we got Mike Borer.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Council. My name is Michael Bohr. I live at 7012 Coventry Court. I'm here to speak about the hotel. Ray spoke very eloquently. He's my neighbor, so I'm not going to go over what he said. But you've given us some stuff to chew on. I know that you wonder, where does this stuff come from? Okay, well, the fact is, this man does have the authorization to build a 65-unit hotel there right now, does he not?
He does not.
He does not. Okay. So when we read stuff on, whether it's online or in the ordinance or the overlay, we see these things and sometimes we draw our own conclusions, okay? You are elected officials. Some of you are leaving. I see some of the new council members are here. We have a petition going around and we're going to get people to sign it. And if he does not have an authorization to build this hotel, we want to make sure. So if you're telling us he's not going to build it or he can't build it, that's great. Then let's make it so, because that's why you have people all lathered up here. This is a horrible idea. Whether it was done for political votes or curry favor with voters 12 years ago, that's fine. But this didn't just come out of the wind. So if you're telling us that, that's fine, but we will hold you as our elected reps accountable to that. We don't want to see it there. And if we do see it there, these meetings are not going to be pleasant. So thank you, Council.
Okay. Ms. Heather Jones.
Good evening, Council. My name is Heather Jones, 2109 Bonvilla Way. I am not here to talk about Deer or the hotel. I'm actually here because at last month's meeting, the very last item that was presented in new business, line item 7C, was the installation of the city's first public art piece. And I was a little out of it. I was on a very heavy-duty Sudafed, had just given the dissolution notice about TCF, but I was really excited. I saw the model. I was like, great, this is going to be, we're going to get our first public art installation. And then I saw a Facebook post, and I know that's come up tonight, but suddenly there's an art piece installed. And I was confused because I do consider myself someone who pays attention here at council and understands generally the rule of how things work. And I said, well, there's been one reading. Where's the second? Where's the public feedback? How is this supposed to work? Is this something I don't understand? So I went and did some research. And I discovered that in 2020, the city adopted a resolution establishing a public art and monuments policy that included the selection of a 5-person art jury from the citizens of TK to review, vet, and suggest public art to be installed by the city. That clearly did not happen in this case. And I'm very disappointed because having just presented about the closure of a citizen committee, finding out that there was an opportunity for citizen engagement that was not taken up, and that I have the document in front of me, a whole series of regulations that were adopted by council previously in order to provide transparency and accountability in the way that our city conducts this type of business for installing art wasn't followed. I have a whole committee of people who gladly would have volunteered to jump over and say, we want to beautify the city, we want to do this. We would love to be involved in this process. And this document spells out very clearly that way submissions are supposed to be sent into this art jury so that it can be brought to council. It has a provision for 2 readings to ensure that there's public feedback. And respectfully, y'all talk about, let's not rumor monger. And I'm not trying to spread any of the things without any credibility, but this clearly didn't happen. And if you don't want people going to Facebook and trying to figure out what's going on, this is why these ordinances exist. They exist to give us a process that can be followed, to allow citizens to be engaged. How can you ask citizens to step up and volunteer if you don't actually put out calls and form the committees that we have rules for? And this personally is something I'm very passionate about, because by this happening and now all this discussion online and rumors and hearsay and things going on and people getting frustrated when they discover that these things exist and they weren't followed, it damages the program. Now, any future art projects that the city wants to do, any future installations are going to have extra scrutiny. People are going to question the money put towards it. And artists deserve to be paid fairly. They deserve to have their work respected. The way this was done calls into question the artist who did the work. And I personally really loved that model that I saw. I would have loved to hear feedback. I don't know if my opinion's the same as the rest of the citizens. That's why these processes exist. And so I would ask council to please convene this art jury, form this committee of citizens, follow the processes that are in place so that we don't have these questions, so we don't have people stepping on something that should have been a great PR opportunity for our city. There should have been a ribbon cutting. This was the first piece going in, and instead I'm watching the spin out online, and that makes me sad, because that isn't the TKK I know. That isn't what I've seen in the year I've been here since we moved as a family to this community. That would have alleviated so many things to have a citizen committee. They could say, we've considered safety line of sights at the roundabout, we've considered the artist, we've looked at the budget, we've looked at what this space would best utilize in terms of a thing. So I'm here to say I'm disappointed, and I hope that council will rectify this situation moving forward to ensure that future art projects are done following the proper procedures so that we can really celebrate art in our city as we grow and try to integrate the 2 sides. Thank you.
Thanks, Ed.
I'll do something as louder, Jesus. Hey, I got it set, it's playing through the microphone. That's not working. Sometime in it.
Miss Ruthie Smith.
I'm gonna drill y'all. This is Ruthie Smith. Where do I live? 8039 Windjammer Drive. I hope you guys are doing well. We are all well aware that we have an overpopulation of deer, and it's been steadily increasing in TGK for many, many years. I've lived here for 23 years. The most recent Spotlight surveys have shown a 20 to 24% increase in fawning reproduction. What this tells us is that the deer are healthy and reproducing. This comes from wildlife experts, not me. While still biologically healthy, TGK residents will agree that we must do something to reduce the herd and effectively manage the population moving forward. The key word here is effectively reduce and manage the herd. Communities like TGK face these same situations with urban wildlife challenges all the time. Communities like TGK, we're different, and we're different because we included wildlife experts, we included city leaders, and concerned citizens, and we worked together to find a sustainable solution to reducing the herd and managing our wildlife. We did not get into this situation overnight, and we cannot expect instant gratification. This is going to take many years. We all have the same goal, which is a happy, healthy, smaller herd. So for my gardeners, citizens concerned about safety with sharpshooters and deer collisions, you taxpayers that are concerned about the amount of tax money spent on wildlife management, which will be ongoing, to animal and nature lovers, which is what TKK is all about, worried about food scarcity and killing, longtime residents just wanting to maintain your status quo. We're all in this together. Finally, this is ironic, clearing up misconceptions on circulating social media, which I don't get on. TKK was issued a permit to kill 80 deer annually. That's the maximum number, 80, not 100. With regard to South Carolina DNR recommendations regarding darting versus culling, they never insisted that we cull or shoot first. In fact, South Carolina DNR stated that for the darting program to be successful, we must dart before culling, not culling before darting. And we are not the Deer Preservation Society. We are the TKK Wildlife Conservation Society. And we focus on protecting vulnerable species, plants, and preserving the species' habitats, which includes bees, birds, fox, turtle, you name it. And by the way, the vaccine, sorry, I'm getting red-faced. The vaccine has been approved for fertility management for 30 years. This is proven science. It has been approved federally by the EPA and most recently by the state of South Carolina. Thank you, Clemson, and happy Thanksgiving.
Go Tigers.
Go Tigers.
Steph Kessie.
All right. Thank you, Council. It's feeling hot in here tonight. I'm Stephanie, and my background as a classroom teacher and as a public health professional helps me find solutions through the lens of research, education, behavior, and prevention. And most of us can agree that our problem today is that there's just too many deer. And most of us can agree that reducing the herd is in the most effective, safest, and affordable way is the ideal win-win solution for all of TKK. So let's begin by remembering we did not get into the situation overnight. Well before this group of councilmen were elected, past leaders made decisions on wildlife management and urban growth that has accelerated the wildlife and human conflicts that we're all feeling today in TKK. And as elected leaders, today's councilmen have shown real thoughtfulness in considering options and gathering info before making long-lasting decisions. This includes contracting professional spotlight projects that provide us real numbers on how quickly the deer population is increasing. I have taken the information over the last 3 spotlights and created this graph. Let's make sure it's up right. This graph to illustrate what our expected deer trends might look like if we continue to do nothing. So early in 22, we saw 700 deer, late 22, 850, and today our latest spotlight showed 1050. If we continue on this trajectory in 5 years, we could expect, with all things remaining the same, a population of 1870. That's if we do nothing. Clearly, we need to do something to prevent the deers from reproducing so that we can successfully reduce the herd, and we need to do it now. Pointing fingers, wringing our hands, or burying our heads in the sand are not actual solutions. However, accepting the fact that a long-lasting solution to reduce the herd in the most affordable and effective way will take time. Though it may feel like an emotional, hair-on-fire situation for some, this is when cold, hard facts come to cool us off so we can take a deep breath in, to think logically as rational adults so that we can be realistic and clear-headed to make the best decisions and get on board for now and for the future. I encourage each council person today to check in with their values and commitment to the taxpayers as they review the cost and outcomes supported by the guidance of experts, decades of research, knowing as leaders your responsible decision today will provide lasting public policy for the future. Bottom line, doing nothing is not an option. By supporting PZP, the City Council is taking action now.
Thank you, Steph. Gina Johnson.
All right, my name is Jonah Johnson. I live at 7907 Fawnwood Lane. Completely a coincidence, so don't worry about that. So I'm the data guy. Don't worry, I'm not going to bust out any kind of linear regression or machine learning algorithms or anything. My dad was a math teacher. He is a math teacher. He's been doing it for like 40 years. And so I'm going to bring some, he's a 5th grade math teacher. I didn't actually do that well in 5th grade math, but I'm going to do my best today. Because this is an emotionally charged issue, right? And so I'm going to just take all of the emotion out of it, and I'm going to put some math on the table as it pertains to the culling option. So a lot of these figures, I'm sure the council has heard before, but hopefully packaging them together is going to shine some new light on the subject. Just for the public's benefit, culling is a term used to describe a program in which TIGA taxpayers would hire sharpshooters to come into the city to kill up to 80 deer per year with the goal of reducing the size of the herd. Culling will cost about $1,000 per deer times 80 deer per year for an indefinite number of years. So 2 years would be a cumulative 160K, 10 years, 800K, and so on. So what type of return on investment can we expect to see? For one thing, it will never reduce, this approach of culling will never reduce the size of the herd back to pre-2016 levels. It will never, and it will continue to increase at an exponential rate, right? As long as the increase in the size of the herd outpaces the reduction of the herd, then that base population is going to continue to grow, and the slope is going to continue upward. Here's some numbers. As we heard earlier, the number of fawns coming into the herd every year is increasing the size of the herd by 24% per year. Now the natural attrition rate is at 15%, and that's including, we heard from Public Works, 169 deer recovered, and then if we were to consider this culling option, the supplement, so rounding down to 1,000 deer, 80 of that is 8%. So that puts us at 15% plus 8% is 23%, which is just 1% shy of the 24% of the new fawn coming into the population. So that means that this level that we're at now, best case scenario, it's going to stay the same or get slightly worse as the trend line recommended. So, and the downside is that we are going to be paying a lot of money in order to just maintain this status quo that nobody's happy with. So some grim news. Good news is there's better news coming after me. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Alicia Formato.
Good evening, Council. My name is Alicia Formato. I live at 25030 Riley Lane. PZP is a protein-based, non-hormonal birth control, which is DART-delivered and administered to the does only. It works by blocking the sperm from attaching to the egg. PZP was first recognized as an effective contraceptive in the 1970s. Since first treatments on free-roaming deer on Fire Island, New York in 1993, more than 2,000 deer have been treated at field sites in 7 states. PZP is also used widely in wild horses, African elephants, and more than 100 species of animals in zoos. PZP is immediately 80 to 90% effective, meaning 80 to 90% reduction in pregnancy rates, 80 to 90% less fawns. The SCDNR permit has no limit to how many females we dart. In fact, we would be going for as many as possible. PZP is wildly affordable. It is only $25 a dose, an estimated cost of $100 a deer, including the labor. It is manufactured by a nonprofit called the Science and Conservation Center, which is the repository for EPA records and data. They supply the world with PZP at 60% less than production value. PZP requires annual boosters. PZP has no side effects except for females have a longer estrus period, but this does not affect male or female behavior. PZP is approved by the EPA for federal use and is now approved for state use by Clemson University Department of Pesticide Regulation. We have recruited experts to inform the feasibility, materials, methods, protocols, and implementation of this project. These experts include Dr. Alan Rutberg of Tufts University, who's an expert on wildlife fertility and PZP, John Griffin, the Senior Director of Urban Wildlife Programs for the Humane Society of the United States, Kim Frank, the Executive Director from the Science and Conservation Center, and of course, Dr. Charles Ruth from our South Carolina DNR. There's been one question: can't we both cull this year and do PZP next year? You're right, this makes sense numerically, but it does not make sense behaviorally or logistically. We need naive deer for a successful darting program. Doing any sort of killing program would undermine the success of a long-term solution. In fact, experts have refused to work at sites where killing programs have left their mark because the project was no longer feasible. I've personally been communicating with Dr. Charles Ruth and Dr. Alan Rutberg, but you don't have to take my word for it. You'll be meeting with those experts soon enough as well. If approved, professional marksmen and teams of darters could begin darting here in TGK this spring. In subsequent years, annual boosters would be administered for the cost of $100 a deer, while the population declines at 10 to 15% annually. This graph that we created has the doing nothing, the trajectory that we have been going on in red. We have the culling, which Jonah just described as basically a flat line with a slight trend of increase. And then we have the darting, which, yes, we'll have a slight bump this next year as spring fawns are being born, and then we'll continue to decrease 10% annually every year. The only reason this can happen is because the cycle of reproduction is being broken. At that point, natural attrition can allow the deer population to steadily decline. We must stay the course and really give this project a chance. This is such an exciting opportunity for our community to collaborate and innovate and lead the way. Thank you.
Alicia. Folks, I'm noticing a trend here. We've got 3 minutes, so let's make sure that we try to adhere to that with the next stuff, okay? Next, we would like to hear from Miss Mary Eichert.
Hi guys, shoo, I get it. It is a lot tonight, so thank you as always for allowing me the opportunity to stand behind this microphone, as I have for the last 2 years, talking about what many people are here talking about, which is the deer. And I did have all this written out, but my team has so amazingly have pointed out everything already about PZP, what it is, the effects of culling, why it's not effective. And I just kind of wanted to come up here and wrap this all up real quick and just, first of all, say thank you again to all of you on council. We have met with you all together. We've met with you all individually. You have been listening. You've been responsive, and we really appreciate you doing that for us. It never occurred to me a couple years ago that I could come up here and say that to you all, as this is a very decisive issue in TGK. I mean, we've got two sides. I mean, it's This is a tough thing. So I'm here once again to give a voice to the voiceless, the deer. These are free-roaming wild animals who visit our worlds, and we are in this with them together. We have a history with them. I have felt this from day one, and have felt it in my bones that there must be something we can do that will give them the best outcome. For those of you that want something done, or who are in favor of coloring and want something done now, please note, I hear you. We all hear you. But this time next year, there'll be just, if you guys call, this time next year, there'll be just as many deer on the peninsula. There'll still be deer in your gardens. Deer will still be sleeping in your yards. And the famous deer poop argument, by the way, it's biodegradable. In a nutshell, you will not notice a change. If safety is your concern, like it has been with me, know that if you go with culling, it will have to happen every single year for years and years to come. That means the use of high-powered rifles in our backyards every year. And if you think having a bullet hit a home isn't a possibility, I would like to mention that in 2019, during a deer cull in Mayhem Township, Pennsylvania, a gentleman was charged with discharging a firearm into a person's home. Why? He had a permit for deer culling by the Pennsylvania Gaming Commission. He was there to cull deer, and a bullet ended up in someone's summer room. Luckily, no one was hurt. Please, guys, as y'all continue to talk over the next steps and where you stand on the best way to manage the deer population, please ask yourselves, who are you doing it for? Are you doing it for yourself? Is it to satisfy the talk that we hear on social media? Some of it valid, of course. We're not here to disregard people's concerns for their yards, their landscaping, their culling, their gardening. Is it because culling is what's traditionally used in the past, so therefore that is what we should do too? I challenge you all to consider this. Doing something new and different may be hard, but it's not impossible. Perfect. I will leave with that. Thank you again, you guys.
Thank you, Mary. Cornell Sutton? Cornell.
Good afternoon, Council. My name is Cornell Sutton. I live at 7065 Harbor Court in Anchorage. I've been there for 22 years. I'm here to advocate doing both, the birth control and the culling. I've done some research also, matter of fact, today. And with the looking at some of the information from the South Carolina National Resources, that if we can classify the deer as wildlife nuisance, that we'll be able to go back and ask for additional culling numbers. And I don't see where that would be difficult because they are nuisance. We're known for, TQK is known for the deer problem. I mean, all through Charlotte. And I think that would be a viable answer to our issue here. I pride myself, I was in business for quite a while, and I pride myself on risk management. I can't see why this city is dragging its foot in terms of the legal liability. This problem has been going on for 6 years. The city is responsible for animal control, every city. I mean, stray dogs, you euthanize them, you know. I talked with the city manager about 6 years ago about this same problem. I was frustrated. He promised me that something was going to be done. I know he can't, you know, he works for you all and us. And he promised that something would be done, and nothing has been done. I am an avid gardener. I do it for therapeutic purposes, for my mind. I can't do it anymore. The deer eat the foliage off my dwarf gardenias. They're real expensive, and all of them died. I haven't overseeded my grass in 5 years. And my neighbor repeatedly would tell you that I always pride myself on a nice yard. I'm tired of running deer, and so make a long story short, we need to do something. If you look at the legal liability, I ride a motorcycle. I came in the other night and it was dust. They were standing alongside the road. I was frightened to death. I'm not the only motorcycle rider. I'm not the only bicycle. I mean, there's a bicycle riders. They all are in jeopardy in terms of being injured. So I'll leave you with that. Thank you.
Thanks, sir. Carol Ratledge. Carol Ratledge. Okay. Jeremy Hall.
Council, I appreciate you taking our comments, and I'm here to talk about the hotel, but kind of in a little bit different there. I appreciate, Mr. Funderburk, you telling us about how that easement works, because that's kind of was some of my question that I had to say, but part of this, though, too, is the land that was sold to now the marina owner, and it's just interesting. I'm a business person myself. I don't make business moves just to own something just for, fun. So I find it very interesting that there's been, conversations, and I know that you're saying that this was a Facebook situation that kind of fired up for votes and what have you. But it just seems very interesting that all of a sudden things are starting to happen. Things are starting to move where this gentleman's starting to buy up property. He's, been given a sweetheart deal to get this easement put in turn, the city could have used eminent domain to take that part to put the sidewalks in. They didn't need to have some sort of deal in order to put the sidewalks in to make this happen. I just find it very interesting that, you as the council members are all talking to us as citizens and saying how, we need to trust you guys. We need to not go on Facebook. But the transparency isn't there. And I think that's what's very concerning. I've been a resident here in TGK now for going on 9 years, and my property sits right across the street from that marina. I see every day, every season, every Saturday, every Sunday, everybody running the stop sign. I see the amount of traffic that goes in and out with people with boats. And if we continue to look at or even give the opportunity to develop that area, it's only going to make things worse. My second part of kind of my thing here, and then I'll let you all go, is we had a conversation at the planning meeting. We brought it up about moving that area that's been zoned as commercial to move it back to being zoned as residential. If you all say that you are against that type of growth in that area, specifically no hotel, no, it's a residential area, why don't we move to zone that back residential? Why do we have to keep that commercial? Doesn't make sense to me. Thank you.
Thanks, Jeremy. Jonah Johnson. You were on here twice.
They just assumed your math wasn't going to be good the first time.
Alice Dubleski.
Hello, gentlemen. My name is Alice Dubleski, and I live at 11163 Water Trace Drive. I'm here today to get a better understanding of the ordinance that was passed to transfer ownership of a portion of Marina Drive to the private owner of TEK Marina in exchange for a sidewalk on TEK Drive. My question is, does the boat launch itself or actual physical access to it transfer in the exchange as well, thereby making it no longer a public access point for TEK residents? I'm asking this question as information is unclear to me, and I thoroughly researched it. You guys know that I research things. And I really want to be certain that all of the council members had all of the pertinent information when you made your vote in September. These are the data points that I want you to understand, and I want to understand them. The council meeting minutes from August and September both state the exchange would go from the first intersection all the way to the first house past the boat launch at the marina. That's verbatim. Exhibit A provided with the meeting minutes online is a copy of an old survey that has an estimated area of roadway X'd out. It looks like it's done by hand. From this, it looks like it could and does include any land adjacent to the water of the boat launch. That's how you get your boat in the water. The recent approved ordinance 585 calls for the portion of Marina Road. It actually calls the portion of Marina Road that allows the public access to the boat launch unused roadway. Gentlemen, this is not unused roadway. You can ask anyone here. I took my jet ski out right there. I use it personally. Everyone does. I don't see anything in Ordinance 585, nothing that grants future public access to the boat launch once it becomes a private property due to the exchange being made by the city. A description provided by the city manager in the August meeting stated that the portion of the road to be transferred in the exchange would go to the driveway of the first house. Gentlemen, I was down there this weekend. I have pictures on my phone. I can show you after I'm finished that if that is true, this will no longer be a public boat launch. It will be a private boat launch. So we have two public boat launches in TK within the city limits, affectionately known as Pitcairn and the Marina. If the boat launch is part of the exchange, I'm seriously concerned about the equity of the exchange. I do not think we should be handing over 50% of our lake access points to a private owner in order to get a free 40-foot sidewalk. Now, if this boat launch is not part of the exchange, I'm confident that council and city staff have fully evaluated the fair market value of the roadway compared to the sidewalk. And it is a fair exchange. However, I do respectfully request that council rescinds its vote on Ordinance 585 tonight so that the official exchange document can be rewritten to clearly state the granting of public easement allowing residents of TK to access this boat launch in perpetuity as part of the exchange. And I just want to add one thing because I'm on planning. Thank you for allowing me to be on planning, for selecting me. I was at the planning meeting in October. You can read the minutes. Everyone in the city can read the minutes and see the agenda. There was a new ordinance for our discussion. It was a discussion of a new ordinance. Maybe someone used that. I don't know about that, but it was there, and I do not lie.
Can I ask a question? Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
The boat launch at the marina, hasn't that been private property for years?
Yes.
Yes, it is owned by the marina.
And he fully maintains it as a private property
That
owner
is
of
correct.
the
It is part
launch,
of his
right?
marina
It's
permit
never
with,
been a
FERC.
publicly owned launch, it's
That is
privately
correct.
owned. Okay.
Yes, sir.
All right.
You already had your 3 minutes, Mr. Bileski. Thank you very much. Russell Mandel? Oh, no, we got a few more.
Oh, I thought I was last.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Russell Mandel, and I live at 26016 Misty Way Drive. I must admit, I came here all fired up about the hotel, and as I'm sitting here listening, I thought of some advice that my mother gave me a long time ago, which says you got 2 ears and 1 mouth, try to use them in that order. Having listened to all of this, I still think that the hotel would be a terrible idea. I also think that there is too many deer around here, and I don't pretend to have all the knowledge of all the people who spoke here, because I haven't done my research on it. But I will say two things. One is, first of all, I want to thank all of you for volunteering and doing this kind of work. It's thankless work. You get to listen to us complain to you, and then you get to make decisions, and then you get to be second guessed. But I think you have heard here that if there is too much development, people would not be happy, particularly from a commercial. And I'll talk from my own previous, having lived in multiple towns over my lifetime. I've lived in many towns, and the best run town I was ever in was one in which they kept very separate where their commercial property was from where their residential property was. That way you get the revenue and you don't get the problems that come with the commercial into your residential areas. And that's just a free piece of advice, freely given. Remember how much you paid for it before you exercise it. My second point is, as I said before, I want to thank you for all of your service, and I hope you listen to everybody who's spoken about the deer problem, because it is a problem, and I trust you to make the best decision you can based on the facts you have, and I will get off before the egg timer calls on me. Have a good day.
Thank you, sir. Susan Hall? Susan Hall? I mean, see what you, who did, I did? Halil? Hulil? You see the dot?
7010 Coventry. Susan, 7010 Coventry.
Third time, sold. Okay. Miss Liz Duda.
Good evening, Liz Duda, 1081 Palmyra Drive. At last month's City Council meeting, I sat here in awe of many things that I was hearing. Tonight, my broad theme, as it often is, will be governance, oversight, accountability, and integrity. I'm going to start out by listing some of the contract issues that seem to be ongoing. We started out with the Rundy restroom. We went on to the TKK Police Department, well-publicized issues. We had the loss of our recycling services here in TKK when that went to a lone bidder. We have the $1 million soccer contract that's not been shopped out. Ms. Jones talked about how our public art purchase didn't follow the public art policy. So one question is, how can we be sure that you are being good stewards of taxpayer money if we're not following the contracts, if we're not handling our contracts appropriately? Last month, as I sat here, I listened to Ms. Jones talking about how the TKK Forever Foundation nonprofit was driven into the ground. It was due to lack of governance, oversight, and financial integrity. Though two of you attended the meetings, it was I who questioned what I saw as clear red flags. Uncovered were issues that led to the TKK Forever Foundation dissolution. Those included significant money transferred to the TKK Forever Foundation by the city. The city spent the money not following the bylaws. There were not 2 signatures on many of the checks. It's not clear where that money was spent. The expenditures were not audited, the financials were not audited. No treasurer was appointed for the committee. No treasurer, no auditor, no dual signatures, large sum of money. City management had free reign with that money with no oversight. Who's willing to donate to a nonprofit once that information is public? So now the nonprofit is dead. The nonprofit that could have purchased water fountains or water refill stations for Catawba Park. The nonprofit that could have purchased the public art. Nonprofit that could have paid for the skate park that teens stood before TKK City Council and requested years ago. So again, how can we trust that you're being good stewards of taxpayer money? I publicly asked questions in the last two meetings. So the first one, how is it okay for one of you to lie to another government agency, to say that you are representing TKK City Council when you are not? How is it okay to threaten how is it okay for TKK City Council to threaten legal action against the local schools that are within your purview when there are no local schools that are within your purview? When these local schools that are in our area, they're the reason that many people moved here and that we pride ourselves on. So, Councilmember Highslip, how is this not worthy of censure? That what you said in the last meeting was the only tool in your toolkit. To me, it's evident that it is. The second question that I publicly asked was one that you had to answer in private, but I asked it publicly, so I will answer it for you publicly. Why did you renegotiate the city manager contract over a year early? And that was because the lawyer came to you with an opinion about a South Carolina lawsuit that invalidated his last contract.
Thank you, Liz.
The lawyer came back later and
Thank
said
you,
the
Liz.
contract was no longer, that it was no longer invalidated. Okay,
Thank you,
cut me
Liz.
off?
Yes,
Okay,
ma'am.
so the answer still is not answered publicly then that I have asked publicly. I
Well,
would
you
like
said
to
that you were going to answer
publicly.
for us, so you answered for us. Thank you. That will bring us to our approval of the regular city council meeting minutes for October 16th, 2023, and the special city council meeting October 24. Gentlemen, do I have?
Motion to approve.
I have a motion. Do I have any discussion? Deletions, subtractions, additions? Got a first and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously. Okay, that'll bring us to our committee reports. Planning Commission, Councilman Shirley, take it away.
Mr. Mayor, members of council, there was a planning commission meeting on November 6th. The items up for discussion were approval of the minutes and unfinished business, which was considered to recommendation of a potential amendment to the zoning code, Article 10 for mobile food vending service. That recommendation was approved unanimously, and I think we'll be hearing a recommendation from Planning Commission on that today. Just a point of interest, there was probably one of the largest attendances of public to the Planning Commission meeting in light of the whispers about a hotel at the marina. I've heard something about that. And there was probably over 70 people in attendance at the Planning Commission meeting, which was really great to see public involvement and public interest in what's going on in the city. And I'm glad that we've had the opportunity, Planning Commission and Council has had the opportunity to try and clarify what is or is not going on there. That was it.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.
TK Forever, Councilman Heisen.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. TK Forever met on Monday, October 23rd. They discussed the winding up process. Chairwoman Jones explained the steps, and that she was working with City Attorney Bob McCleve to get things in order, and that is it.
Thank you, sir. That will bring us to new business. We are hearing the Planning Commission recommendation as it relates to the mobile food vending services. Mr. Ryan Ross, if you would, please, sir.
Mr. Mayor, members of council, Ryan Ross, Planning Commission Chairman. On our November 6th regular Planning Commission meeting, we reflected on our last council meeting joint public hearing on the recommendation red line changes for the recommendations for the mobile food vending services, the red lines that you guys have provided in the two documents, 5B1 and 5B2. It was passed unanimously from Planning Commission as a recommendation from us to you to accept those changes. Any questions, complaints, or concerns?
Gentlemen?
Thank you, gentlemen.
No, sir. Thank you very much. Okay. So we have a consideration of the first reading of an amendment to the zoning code as it relates to mobile vending services. This is the first reading of an amendment to the zoning code as it relates to the mobile vending services. The city is considering a code update to provide more clear and flexible regulations pertaining to the operation of food trucks. The intent is to create language that is easily understandable and enforceable for staff and mobile food vendors by amending the duration and location requirements of the zoning ordinance. Gentlemen, do I have a motion?
Mr. Mayor, members of the council, motion to approve the first reading of an amendment to the zoning code as it relates to mobile food vending services.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Do I have any further discussion?
Maybe in the spirit of transparency,
Maybe in the spirit of
we
transparency.
could say what this is about.
Okay.
So,
Well, we do have some red lines that we've got to, that we're changing it to. We're striking through the maximum duration of a mobile food vending service permit is for 15 days at one location, renewable up to 2 additional times for a total period of 45 days per calendar year at that one location. We struck through all of that, and the Part D would read now, mobile food vendor permits must be renewed on an annual basis. The next line through is, and no overnight parking of vendor service vehicles will be permitted. That Part E is to say the hours of operation shall be between 8 a.m. and 9 p.m. The next is Part J. There shall be we struck through a minimum of 400 feet separation of any food truck vendor and a minimum of 200-foot separation. It's instead of 400 now, it's 200 feet of separation from any residential use as measured by accessible route. We've struck through or residential zoning district to include unless located at a residential amenity area. So it'd be like your clubhouses in your neighborhoods. So if you guys are having an event and you want to have food trucks, by our oldest ordinance, you could not have a food truck there if it was within 400 feet of another residential home, regardless if it was at the clubhouse or not. So with this, like the folks in Lake Ridge, they can have their community party, they can have food trucks, they can have folks to come out and provide them services at the clubhouse, whereas they couldn't before.
Unity in the community.
That's what we're trying to do. And basically that's, we got some signage and everything. It's still the same language as it was as far as signage that permits it. And the exemptions are the same as they were as well. So with that, we're just trying to get it to where it fits our community mold a little bit better than the old stuff, and it's easier to understand. So with that, all in favor?
Aye.
aye.
Aye. It's unanimous.
Thank you, Mayor. Did a good job of clarifying that.
I'll do what I can do. I have another piece of new business. It's a consideration of awarding the bid for Rundy Park parking lot and the path paving. In order to continue to beautify the parks within the city, staff request bids for the parking lot and path to be repaved at Rundy Park. Eddie Smith and Sons were the lowest apparent bidder for $142,500, which will allow for the removal, repaving, and repainting of existing parking lot and the path leading to the restrooms. If awarded, Eddie Smith and Sons would begin construction as soon as possible.
Mr. Mayor, as members of council, I'd like to make a motion to award the bid for Rundy Park paving lot and path paving to Eddie Smith and Sons in an amount not to exceed $142,500 and issue the city manager a notice to proceed.
I have a motion. Do I have a second? I have a motion and a second. Do we have any further discussion?
Are we absolutely positive Eddie Smith and Sons is not related to anyone in city staff?
Absolutely.
Are we also positive we sent this out for other bids?
We did.
And got competing offers.
Right.
That we did.
Cool. All
Okay,
right.
good.
Yeah,
Just
no,
want to
I'm
make
good.
sure we're
Let's-
following the
let's
process.
move forward.
So what this is for is Rundy Park, the parking lot at Rundy Park is getting terrible as far as water penetration into the subbase. With water penetration in the subbase, it just gets more expensive to fix it. So what we need to do is we need to have asphalt laid in the parking lot. I know that it's going to kind of trounce on an Eagle Scout project that we just had, that they just repainted those lines there, but understandably, they're going to be put back in better shape and better for the kids. Right now, we've got potholes in that parking lot.
Yep.
We've got huge holes in the walking trail to the bathrooms at Rundy Park. It's just old asphalt needs to be replaced, so we're trying to take care of getting that replaced as quickly as possible. And so I appreciate you guys getting the bids and everything for us and working with everybody to get that done. So with that, all in favor, say aye.
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 Aye. Motion's unanimous. Okay, our next item on the agenda is some new business as well. This is a consideration of an award bid for rapid flashing beacons at New Gray Rock Road and TKK Drive at Windjammer Drive. As was discussed at a previous council meeting after the last pedestrian study conducted by RFATS, warrants were met and it was recommended that RFBs be installed on TKK Drive at Windjammer Drive and at the entrance of Catawba Park on New Gray Rock Road. Staff has successfully obtained the necessary permits and placed the acquisition of the required materials out for bid in accordance with the city's code. Tonight, we consider that bid and whether or not to instruct staff to move forward on this project.
Mr. Mayor. you should
Mr.
make
Mayor
a
and members of council, I'd like to make a motion to award the bid for rapid flashing beacons, RFBs, at New Gray Rock Road and at TKK Drive at Windjammer to RAI Products in an amount not to exceed $23,000.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
And if we may have a slight amount of discussion, Charlie, it's my understanding we put this out for bid and there was one bidder, is that correct?
That is correct. It was placed, advertised on city website and on SCIBO, South Carolina Business Opportunities, as per our procurement ordinance.
Mhm.
And only one responsive bidder came in.
Just trying to be transparent so nobody can go back and say, well, you only had one bidder. We put
Right.
it out the way we were supposed to do it per the ordinance, and we only had one bidder. We're accepting the bid. Everybody knows, everybody's been screaming about crosswalk safety, crosswalk safety, crosswalk safety. We're doing the best we can, as quick as we can, based on what we get from RFATS and also from the state on these state-owned roads.
If I may, go ahead. Go ahead, Tom. Just quick commercial for the mayor. A couple of years ago, when you were running for office, I know this was an issue that you were really passionate about, and you have worked hard to try and get this done. I know you and staff have worked hard on this project. At opposition from the state on a lot of state roads, and I know how frustrating it's been, and I appreciate staff and the mayor pushing through this to see this done. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
I was going to say the same thing, and, the mayor went to bat for the city, was told no numerous times by the SCDOT. He was able to convince RFATS to do a study that contradicted the state's study and showed that these were needed. And so, great work, Chris. Appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Okay.
You have a motion and a second?
I would like to say I appreciate all the help, Charlie, that you guys gave me with the support with the staff and everything, getting this together. It's great work, and I really appreciate all the legwork. Chief,
Absolutely.
appreciate your legwork as well on this, sir. This was a team effort, folks. It wasn't just me. It was a lot of folks that put this together. David Hooper, really appreciate all the help at RFATS. It took moving mountains to get this done. I wanted more, but I'll go with what we got. It's a lot cheaper than the $65,000 option that we've got at Heron Run. So, and thanks to grants and that kind of things from the state, we got that put in. We got a long way to go with pedestrian safety in TUK, with bike safety in TUK. But stick with us, we got some good stuff coming up. This is just the start of things that are to come to safeten the community up and to make sure that our pedestrians, our motorists, and our bicyclists, everybody's safer. So, and especially our children. Our children need to be as safe as they can be when they're traveling back and forth to school and that kind of thing. So, kudos, thank you to SCDOT for this as well. Look forward to continue to working with them in a positive manner to make sure that we get as safe a community as we can. So,
Mayor, also just to add, DOT, after the incident that was at that intersection not that long ago, came back and looked at it again. They're also, in addition to the RFPs, at the DOT expense, they're going to do some pavement markings to alert people to the crosswalk in advance of it, both inbound and outbound at the Windjammer Drive intersection.
well, this bid also includes advanced warning beacons as well, right? At Windjammer.
At Windjammer,
Yes,
yes, sir.
at
There's,
Windjammer.
on the outbound side, there's an advance flasher. So as you're coming through the curve, you'll see
Nice.
that before, in advance of seeing the crosswalk.
Yes, sir. And all solar powered. We're going environmentally friendly. All right. So with that said, all in favor say aye. Aye. Motion passes unanimously. Okay, and with that, that will bring us to our city manager report. Please, Mr. Funberg, if you would, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Members of council, I'll be very brief this evening. First, coming up December 7th at 6 p.m. Will be our annual tree lighting up at the clubhouse. Hope to see everybody there. Ms. Hasty has done a wonderful job revamping it to a certain extent. Really excited about the program that she's putting together, and should be a great holiday time for everybody. And then last but certainly not least, the Rural Infrastructure Authority has awarded us a grant for wastewater treatment plant upgrades in the amount of $1 million. That will go in alongside with the ARPA funds that prior council had set aside. That's approximately $3.5 million. So our TCUT staff is working with Alliance Engineering and Harper Construction on some very necessary upgrades, primarily at wastewater treatment plant number 2, and excited to start moving forward and getting some of those things done. So big thank you to Philip Jolly, our utilities director, on securing that $1 million grant. We are able to use ARPA funds as part of as our required match on that grant. So it won't impact city budgets at all. And last but certainly not least, happy Thanksgiving to everybody. I hope everybody has a great time with their families, and if you're traveling, safe travels. That concludes my report, Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Funderburk. That will bring us to council comments, and as always,
Thank you.
Mr.
Thank you.
Richard, would
Yeah,
you
too
please,
easy,
sir?
guys. As Charlie said, happy Thanksgiving to all. Obviously, as usual, thank you to staff, our first responders, chief, well, both of you usually here, but police, fire, EMS, city staff under the direction of Charlie. You guys do an amazing job. Everybody that was here tonight that presented earlier, thanks for all you do. All the gentlemen here on this dais with me for putting yourself in the crosshairs of sometimes each other and the rest of the city when need be. Thanks for everybody that came out tonight and said what you had to say. Trust me, we're always listening, guys. Congratulations to Brian and Corman, who are both in the house tonight. You guys ran a very, very respectable campaign, and congratulations to the two of you. You're both going to do great, and we look forward to it. Well, I know Gus and I do, at a minimum. But no, aside from that, that's all I have, guys. Thanks.
Thank you, Councilman Richard. Councilman Tunis, please.
I'm exhausted. I'll probably repeat a few things that Ryan said. Thank you once again to city staff and our first responders for all you do. Appreciate everybody coming out to speak tonight. We listen. We don't, it's public comments. It's not public question and answer. We'd be here till 3 in the morning if we answered every question asked, but we do listen. We do pay attention. There were some valid points brought up, and there were some conspiracy theorists out there too, but it is what it is. You have your time to speak. That's why it's called public comments, and it's part of what makes this country great, and this city. I would like to also, wish everyone a happy Thanksgiving. This is a great time to spend with your family, to reflect back on all the things that we all do have to be thankful for, and we do have an awful lot to be thankful for. First and foremost, living in TKK. I'm eternally grateful for it. Carmen, Brian, congratulations. I will reiterate what Ryan just said. Y'all both ran a very clean campaigns. They were well thought out, and the results show themselves. So we look forward to welcoming you up here as Ryan and I ride off into the sunset shortly. And the last thing I checked, in about 7 or 8 more minutes, I think me and you got one more. Just one more. Anyway, don't forget to be thankful for what you should be thankful for. Good night.
Thank you, Councilman Tunis. Councilman Shirley.
Yes, sir. As always, we're very grateful to live in the safest and nicest city in South Carolina, and that's not in any small part because of our first responders keeping our city safe, protecting our property, and protecting the values that we love and hold near and dear here. I also want to reach out to our Public Works, Stormwater, Parks and Recs, and Utilities. Great reports tonight. Really excited to see that. I think it's really important that you share that in this format for public to see what goes on out there. We see a hole in the ground and don't know what's going on, and we see stuff going on the side of the road and sometimes wonder what the heck that's about. And I'm really grateful for how hard our staff works on keeping our city beautiful and safe and keeping the water flowing, keeping the toilets flushing, and all the stuff that you guys do that's really probably thankless a lot of times, but I want to say thank you, and I hope the department heads will take that back to the rest of your teams and let them know how much we appreciate that and you keeping our city running. You do a whole lot more of that than we do. I can assure you that. I'm sure there's a lot of people in here would agree with me on that. Council-elect Carter and Miller, congratulations. Looking forward to having you up here in a couple of months. Fasten your seatbelts. It's fun. Councilman Tunis and Richard, you guys have done a great job for a lot of years. I know you are probably looking forward to their swearing in more than anybody is. So we can certainly appreciate that. Regarding comments made about transparency tonight, the wonderful God-given right of a person's right to speak freely, protected by the First Amendment, is the same amendment that protects me. So I think it's fair that we share that with one another. People have a right to speak their mind, stand up in front of that microphone and say what they want to say. Pretty unrestricted for the most part. And there are times that I say some things that people don't like either. And I will never back down from my convictions and my beliefs. So know what you get when you see me, that I'm going to stand for something. I'm not going to fall for anything. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Shirley. Dr. Mayor Pro Tem Heiser, please, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. First, as always, thank the residents for coming out tonight and those watching at home, if you're still on there or watching in a couple days on the recording. Appreciate you being here. We, as everyone said before me, we do listen. We take your comments to heart. It's odd to sit here and not be able to have a discussion and respond. But we're listening, and we are striving for transparency. We are trying to give you everything we have any way we can. It's when you're fighting the uphill social media battle, sometimes it doesn't get through. We'll continue to try. I implore everyone, if you have any questions, all our emails and phone numbers are on the city websites. I think everyone here has shared them 1,000 different places. Please reach out, ask. I'll tell you anything I know. Is Liz will, I hope, agree with. I mean, we talk often, and I don't hold anything back, and I got nothing to hide, But it's fun, but it's not fun, this job, all right? That's the bottom line. We're trying to do transparency, so please just reach out before you react on social media. I know it's hard. But anyways, moving on. As far as the deer, again, we hear you. Just to reiterate it again, you know, we requested 300 deer to be called. State said 80. We asked our elected officials to go to the state. We asked the appointed officials to go to the state board of DNR that approves this. They won't give us more than 80. And so the other option is the PZP option with that we've been working with the Conservation Society. One way or another, we're going to do something and quickly. And I'm going to defend us. This has been a growing problem for years. We are finally going to do something, okay? This has been kicked down the can down the road, and I'll defend this council. We've taken every step we could have taken to this point, listening to the experts, working with the state, working with the Conservation Society, working with the Humane Society, to get every option we have and work. Yeah, without being irresponsible, not jumping decisions, not wasting money. We want to get all the facts in a row. We're there now. We're getting ready to do something. Okay, so just, I know I say bear with us, but we're doing the best. We're going to do what's best for the city with the city's money. And so I wanted to get that out there because I know there's a lot of misinformation about the deer. I know people are frustrated. Believe me, I could care less about these deer. Okay, I don't care about these deer, whether they're alive or dead or. I'm not a deer hunter. I am not a deer, sanctuary person, but it's a problem, and we're going to do something, and we're at the final steps now, so I wanted to get that on record. All right, moving on. Carmen, Brian, congratulations. Look forward to working with both of you. Adam, Ron, Daniel, thank you for stepping up and being willing to serve and running for the seat. One little thing, I know this is going long tonight, I apologize, but the Veterans Day ceremony last Saturday had to get moved indoors because of weather. The mayor called me first thing in the morning and said, I guess we're going indoors. Yeah, you need any help? I do. Mayor picks me up. We go get the flags display. We drive them up here to the Glennon Center at 9 in the morning to get them indoors. And when we walk in, the city manager, Charlie, is in there folding up tables, moving chairs, vacuuming the carpet. I say all this just to give a little shout out to the mayor and Charlie for the things they do behind the scenes that you don't see. All right, so thank you both. You stepped up. I appreciate it. Parks, Recs, Utilities, Public Works, Stormwater, great reports. Thank you. And thank you to all the staff members of each department for your hard work. Police and Fire, thank you as always. I drove by an accident on 160 last week, and both departments were out there working. Man, thank you for everything you do every day. The rest of the staff, admin, and planning, thanks for your great work. Boys and girls swim team, congratulations. And with that, I hope everyone has a great Thanksgiving, and I will see you all on December 7th for the Christmas tree lighting. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Dr. Mayor Pro Tem. And that comes to me. So, I'd like to say, folks, there is a tremendous amount of work that goes into every piece of TK. From our committees that we have, volunteer folks come in helping us, which we're going to need some more volunteers to help us with our committees. If you truly love TK and you feel like you have a tap on the shoulder to get involved, please don't hesitate to come get involved and do some of the lifting with us. Love to have folks come in. As always, Chief, excellent job again. Thank you so much for all you do for us. Both chiefs, Chief Hasty as well. I know he's not here tonight. City staff, thank you for all you do for us. It's incredible the amount of work that you guys do. My hat's off to you. Thank you very much for your diligence and your dedication to our city in everything that you do. Council, I appreciate you guys. Appreciate your candor, appreciate your wisdom. Thank you very much for helping drive the bus. I know that it's been kind of a crazy couple of months, but hey, we're going to get through this too.
Drive it or get run over by it. Yeah, like Ryan said, sometimes run.
Sometimes you just got to grab a hold of the drive axle and hold on loosely. With that being said, we have a lot of good things coming up, folks. Thanksgiving is here. We've got a lot to be thankful for in TK. One, that we don't have bombs dropping on our heads. That is due to our veterans. Thank you for all that you do, sir, and ladies. Thank you very much for all that you do and have done for our country. It was a beautiful ceremony on Saturday. Was a pleasure being there and just being in the room with folks that wrote a blank check a long time ago. So hats off to you guys and ladies for doing that for us. So, you know, when you wake up Thanksgiving morning, a couple of things. Kiss your kids. Thank the good Lord that you've got a safe place to raise them. You've got a great educational system, and you've got a great city that is beautiful, and the kids can actually walk down the road and not be mugged, not be shot, not be bombed. A lot of kids that are growing up in different places in the world can't say that. The other thing, just realize, folks, that we're all sharing this same piece of dirt. And in sharing this same piece of dirt, we all have our ideas, and we all have things that could come to fruition that we really want to get behind. Myself, I like to get behind those RFBs. That was kind of my baby, and I really think that's a safe piece for us, and I'm glad that everybody's working together on that. We've been working hard on the deer for 2 years. It's not something that's come overnight. We were presented a bow with a box on our doorsteps, and we're presented with nothing to go off of, so we've had to build it from the ground up. And it's been a long, arduous process, and I thank you to everyone that's had a hand in helping us make a good decision. It's not a light decision. I will say we have got a great event planner, and I am looking forward to the tree lighting. And just so that I have it on record, all of you have a part in the tree lighting. It's going to be a kind of, sort of, yeah. So just wanted to have it on record as to say that all of you have a part. Make it there. But we do have, after the tree lighting, that's going to be December 7th, starting at 6 p.m. Bring the family, bring the kids, bring the grandkids. We've got something for everybody. We've got good cookies. We got hot cocoa. We're going to have a most festive sweater contest that's going to be after the tree lighting in the Glennon Center, and the kids get to meet Santa. So please bring all the kids to meet Santa and sit on his lap and ask for anything that they could possibly want for Christmas. And tell them if they're really buying for me that I wear a double XL and I need some new shirts too. So, yeah, come on out for that. It's going to be a great time. It's going to be a little bit different this year. So we're going to have caroling. We're going to have our TK choir that we have a group of residents that they put together a choir for us to do some songs, and it's just going to be a great time for us all in TK. With that, I would like to tell you, everyone, thank you for coming out. Thank you for participating. Thank you for your comments. We do listen. And with that.
Mr. Mayor, members of council, I'd like to make a motion to adjourn.
Second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you very much, folks.